Hey guys, welcome to a brand new video. As always, it's always new, unless it's old and you're watching this in the future, but we don't need to worry about future people yet. But guys, today we're going to be doing something brand new, because today we have a new thing entirely. Usually I'd play a game or make a game or something like that, but today instead I'm going to be showing you a list, or not really a list, but just a whole bunch of really awesome animals that I think should be Pokemon. So I'm sure you've seen a few of these before. I'm pretty sure there might be a few that you haven't, but I'm going to try to find animals, mostly animals that aren't Pokemon. Now, there's a few Pokemon, like, I'm sure I've forgotten about, so maybe I might accidentally show a couple animals that are Pokemon already, but I'm going to try my best. I didn't want to put a number on this list, because there's always new animals that might come into mind as I go, and stuff like that, but I'm going to try and keep it short, guys, so do not worry. Yeah, so this is going to be a pretty cool list, I think. I'm going to try to explain why I think each animal should be a Pokemon, and stuff like that. You'll see as it goes. So without further ado, let's get to the first animal on our list. First up on our list is the platypus. You might have guessed this one, guys. He, of course, or it, is on a ton of lists everywhere, and that is because it is the world's coolest animal. Well, it's up there. There are just so many awesome things going in this guy's favor. I think he might actually just be a real-life Pokemon. Like, Pokemon rejected the idea of a platypus, and so God made it anyways, because they gave God that idea. It's just that much. It's just such a Pokemon that it has to be. It can't be like a real thing. It's like part duck. It has a poisonous ankle barb, in case you weren't aware. It's actually quite scary. It's semi-aquatic. It lays eggs. It is everything a mammal shouldn't be, and it's still a mammal. That is one cool Pokemon. It's found also, of course, it's in Australia. Best country ever. I know you can see everything right now. I don't even care. Australia is right here. Best country in the world, in my opinion. I don't know why. I just really like Australia. And I think it'd be really cool if the next generation of games, like the region, was based off Australia. But I doubt that would happen. Although there are quite a few, like, animals, like lots of animals in Australia, and quite a few of them still haven't been done by Pokemon, so I think it'd be pretty interesting, especially if they do the platypus and a few other Pokemon on this list. Of course, if they do a platypus, it could maybe look something like this. This is just a sprite from the game I'm making, and the primary typing would be water, but it could have a secondary typing of either poison or ground, because, as mentioned, it has a poisonous ankle barb, and it's semi-aquatic, meaning it lives in both the water and on land. So both of these two typings would work if it was water poison or water ground, but I think in all likelihood they would go more for a water ground feel and give it a couple poison moves. And of course, guys, well, not of course maybe, but the second Pokemon on the list is going to be the koala. It is just a really cute animal. It is also native to Australia, by the way. Let's just go to back up my little Australia theory there. There are tons of pictures just throughout the internet of koala Pokemon. They're everywhere. I really like these three designs. You can see them all here. That one, and that little cute one. They're all really cool. I think it could make a great grass starter for the next game, especially if they do go with an Australia theme, which I would kind of like, but I half doubt. Although in the last one, there did seem to be a waterish feel, and Australia is like an island continent, so maybe there's a chance there. I haven't looked into it, but I don't know if there's like palm trees there like we saw, but there's always a good chance. So if they go for that, There's, of course, the obvious typing of grass, or, like I did in my fan game, or am going to do in my fan game, they could go a little bit strange and pull off a dark type. I don't know how good an idea that is, or even how good that sprite is. It probably won't, it might not skate in the game for long, but that's another idea there. So there's actually quite a bit, or a few ideas they could go for with a koala Pokemon, as you can see. And it's just a really cool animal, and I'm surprised they haven't done it yet. Next on our list, we have the kangaroo. So, this is another Pokemon, or animal actually, that would be native to Australia, which is super cool because it would complete this little trio right here, which is a picture I found on the internet, guys. Most of these pictures are pictures from the internet, so like, I don't own the artwork or anything like that. But as you can see, they have a kangaroo, or koala, sorry, they have a platypus. I just cut off its tail to show you that. And they do have a kangaroo. So it does have like the fire, water, grass thing, with the platypus being grass, kangaroo being fire, and koala bear being plant type. Oh, actually the platypus is water, I don't even know, I'm thinking. So it could make a really cool fire type, or it could even make a cool fighting type, because of the symbol of the kangaroo boxing gloves, which is on the flag. And of course, there's a lot of Pokemon ideas for it, but another one is this little guy here. I know the graphic is a bit blurry, but it looks really cool. So it could be fighting, it could be fire, as shown here, or it could even be just a normal type. And I know they have like done the whole kangaroo thing before with Kangaskhan here, but I don't really count Kangaskhan as a kangaroo, just because to me it doesn't really look like one. The only thing it has in common is the pouch. So that's why it's still on the list, but I guess it's less on the list. It probably should have just been an honorable mention, but this list doesn't have honorable mentions, or else axolotls would be everywhere right now. Unfortunately, we have 2 axolotl Pokemon, so no point. Okay guys, so next on the list is something you probably didn't see coming. Some of you probably didn't even know these little guys existed. It's called the Jerboa, or Jerboa, I think it's Jerboa. And these guys are just super cute. They're like little mice, but they can jump, and the pygmy Jerboa, shown right down here in blurry graphics, is actually the smallest rodent in the world. They're found throughout like Asia and Africa and places like that, mostly in deserts. So they're super cool. And another type I actually probably should put up here, because I say it could be normal, or it could be an electric type, of course, because like Pikachu, I guess. But it could also be ground type, because it is found throughout deserts. It was pretty hard to find any ideas for like any pictures of Pokemon that people had made of Jerboas, I guess because they're such a weird animal, or whatever. But I did find these 2 that look a lot like Pikachu, and I guess that's where I got the electric typing from, just on the internet. And I think that this one especially is super cute, and the other one is really cool looking too, for sure. If it's a long tail, which is a trait that Jerboas actually have. And Jerboas come in multiple types. This one's a bit cut off, but as you can see, there's like the long-eared Jerboa, which look quite a bit like a rabbit. And there's the pygmy Jerboa over here, smallest animal or rodent on the planet. And as you can see, it doesn't have, well, it does have ears, but they're really tiny, which is kind of cute. So I really like this animal. I'd love to see it become a Pokemon in the near future. And because it is from Asia and the games are made from there, I think it's actually a possibility and something that could happen. Next up on the list, we have the Swordfish Pokemon. So this Pokemon I've seen getting requested a lot by a lot of people, and it's still not a thing. It's up there with narwhals. So yeah, the swordfish is actually pretty cool, and there's tons of different species of it, or quite a few. Some have this crazy fin here, which I think would be awesome if it was implemented onto a Pokemon, but it's still something we haven't seen at all. There's like lots of art online, of course, of what such Pokemon would look like. And as you might know, if you've watched my videos where I make my game, I have 2 swordfish Pokemon in that game. The first evolution, of course, is called Sword Swish, I believe. Yeah, it's Sword Swish. I can't even remember my own Pokemon name. And the second evolution here even carries a sword as well as being a swordfish. So a bit of overkill, and his bottom was cut off for some reason, but yeah, I forgot what that one's called, but I think it's a pretty cool idea. And this brings up the idea that a swordfish Pokemon would of course be water type, but it could be water fighting, using its sword as a weapon, water steel, having a sword made out of metal, or even water ice, having a sword made out of ice, which is something that I've actually seen quite a bit in pictures. But I couldn't find any of those pictures, so I went with these 2 really cool pictures right here. Just go bring them over. Yeah, that looks weird, but this is how I'm doing this video, guys. Don't complain. But yeah, these 2 fan art pictures are really cool. There's like a little fish with a sword and a big fish with a sword. And I think that's awesome. It even shows a bit of an evolutionary line. But that's all I've got to say about the swordfish. It's been said a lot, guys. Just like dolphins, which would have made the list, but they're said so much, it's almost a guarantee that they'll be in the next game. So I see no need to mention them, but I mentioned them right now anyways. Next up on the list is the lemur Pokemon. So surprisingly, Pokemon still hasn't done anything based off a lemur. And that really is surprising, I think. Because it's a very cool looking animal, it's not too uncommon, lots of people would recognize it, and there's a lot you could do with it. For example, there are tons and tons of different ideas for fakemon based off of it. As you can see right here, sorry, I need to zoom in. I'll zoom out later and you can see them, like, not terribly blurry. But as you can see here, we have like a full evolution line of 3 lemur Pokemon. They all look really cool, with little baby lemurs on their backs, just like how lemurs act in real life. There's even a fire lemur Pokemon, and a fighting lemur over here. That one's hard to see. Here, I'll zoom out, and you can see them all. It looks really cool, I think. And there are so many typings that you could use with a lemur. Because lemurs eat mostly plants and live in trees and stuff, so you could go with a grass type Pokemon. You could even go with a normal type Pokemon, if you want to be generic, a fighting type Pokemon, as shown by this guy's gloves and stuff or whatever. You could go with an ice type Pokemon or a fire type Pokemon. Now in my game, Pokémon Neon Glow, I actually went with an ice type lemur Pokemon, as shown by little Lemurl down here. I think that's a pretty good view of him. You can see he has little punching gloves on and a candy cane tail, which I thought was like, you know, winter, you get candy canes because of Christmas and the holidays or whatever. And ringtail lemurs, like if you change it to red, it look kind of like a candy cane. I thought that'd be pretty cool, and also make it white. I don't know. So fighting ice Pokemon could be a cool idea for it, but there's tons of ideas, as you can see here, and tons of typings you could go with. And I think lemurs are definitely one of the best options, but I'm going to show you one more, and then that will be the end, guys. And the last Pokemon animal on the list is actually kind of why it's not really the last one, because there's 2 here. I have the hummingbird and a woodpecker. So guys, I put them both together because I thought it'd be cool to have the 2 birds I want to see in at the very end, and because I'm pretty sure we're getting a woodpecker in the future. In fact, a lot of people are pretty sure about that because of course, the trailer where we got to see this image, which has caused people to speculate away. drawing Pokemon like this, which is definitely a woodpecker Pokemon, and it does match the Pokemon Direct images from the Sun and Moon trailer. Now there are a ton of types that both these Pokemon could be, and just before we do this, I just wanted to point out that these awesome looking sprites for hummingbird Pokemon are actually from a fan game that I'm playing right now on my channel called Pokemon Sage. It's one of the Scargers, and I think it looks super cool. But without further ado, there are a ton of types that both these Pokemon could be. If you were to ask me personally, I would go like all of these types. But anyways, there's the normal type, which is normal. Anything can be normal. I point this out because a lot of the time, bird Pokemon, or beginner bird Pokemon at least, are flying and normal types from the start of the game. So there's a good chance that that's what this will be. But there's a couple other ideas I have. If, for example, it is a woodpecker Pokemon, it could be fire type. And fire type would be super cool just because it has that red on it that woodpeckers do tend to have. Right here on its head is on this guy, and on woodpeckers in the wild. And actually, if you look at it in the wild, it does kind of look like flames coming off its head a little bit. So there's a good potential for that. Also, of course, grass type, which goes with the Scargers I showed you up there. And steel type would be great, I think, again, for a woodpecker Pokemon, because if you haven't seen these guys already, they're pretty cool. I'm actually making a Pokemon game. I've mentioned it about 3 times this episode now. But I have an evolution line of woodpecker Pokemon that evolve like that and eventually become flying and skill type. Well, actually the second evolution is flying and skill type already. But these Pokemon look super cool, I think, because I made them, of course. But I think the idea of a steel drill-like beak would be awesome for a woodpecker Pokemon. And my final typing I have here is fairy, because I think a hummingbird Pokemon could make a great fairy type. I know I can't get a small enough sprite for the typing there, but I think it does definitely fit with the final evolution of the plant Scarger here. If we can zoom out and get into more focus. It does look very fairy-like almost all the way through, and I think that's awesome. Also, it looks pretty fairy itself. Hummingbirds have like a shimmer to them that I think fairy type would suit very well, and neither of these birds have been in Pokemon yet. They're both pretty unique and pretty cool. Of course, grass could also go for a woodpecker Pokemon. I didn't mention this, but, you know, just because they eat trees and stuff. Well, not eat trees, they eat the bugs in the tree, but I wouldn't put them as a plant type. But, you know, they're birds. They live in trees and make nests there and whatnot, so, of course, plant type always applies. Grass type, always applies to that type of thing. But, guys, that is all that there is on my list. If you have other Pokemon or animals you'd like to see become Pokemon, make sure to tell me about those in the comments and leave a like if you did like my list. If you didn't like this list, whatever, guys. But if you really like this list, make sure to subscribe to see more videos on my channel. I do playthroughs of tons of fan games like Pokemon Sage and other ones like Pokemon Solar and Solar Light, Lunar Dark. I play Pokemon Infinite Fusion. I play a lot of stuff. I'm even making my own Fakemon game, if you can't tell from this. And I have a playlist where I show you how to make a game, and another one where I make sprites for the game. So that's pretty cool if you want to go check those out if you're interested. But until next time, there's just one more thing you gotta do for me, and that's stay awesome. Bye-bye.